Hello and welcome to another live edition of the Nittany Dispatch. I am John Sauber, Penn State beat writer at the Center Daily Times. She's Audrey Snyder, doing the same at InsideTheLions.substack.com. And Audrey, this thing is now 1 month officially in since James Franklin was fired, and everyone is getting very apprehensive, and it's making me anxious.
Do we,
and
do
I
we
don't
celebrate
like
1 month coach firing anniversaries? Is that what this is? A special
coach
episode?
fire anniversary? Yeah, maybe that's why we're doing this on a Wednesday. Definitely not because I was at a men's basketball game last night covering it.
Yeah, I am literally checking my flight right now to make sure it's still on time for this weekend for Penn State, Michigan State, because not even a government shutdown can keep me away from the land-grant trophy. So yeah, I'm still on time.
We will not be spending 45 minutes talking about.
The hell we won't. That's all I'm here to talk about, John.
And I will get up and walk away if that's the case. But Penn State does play Michigan State this weekend. We'll get into that first, and then we will get to the coaching search, which I'm sure all of you want to hear about more than anything right now.
More than the land-grant trophy.
No, definitely more than the land-grant trophy. This is Penn State's best chance to get a win the rest of the season, like point blank. And we can talk about why that's the case with the upcoming schedule and everything. But I do think this is an opportunity for, I think, a lot of these guys to show that what Terry Smith is telling us, right? Like that they're still fighting, that they haven't given up yet on the season, because this Michigan State team, for as bad as things have been for Penn State, Michigan State is an unmitigated disaster. Like one of the worst Power 5 or Power 4 programs in the country, if not the worst. A really bad offense, a really bad defense, a really bad head coach who's on the hot seat. And this feels like this could be his final game in charge too. But it is like this is kind of it. And if they go out and lose this game, probably staring in the face at 3-9.
Well, John, if they lose the game, there is one silver lining that would come of it. No bowl eligibility.
Yes, silver lining for just you and I.
I like New York City for the bowl game. I like the idea of a pinstripe bowl, kind of. I'm talking myself into it just in case this materializes.
Right. That's smart.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it against Indiana. We've seen it with Terry Smith at the helm. These guys aren't quitting, which is great. It's wonderful. The culture, the buy-in, all that stuff. But at some point, you got to get a win, and it's just talking to players, coaches. I mean, these guys are exasperated. I think it's a matter of like, what more do we need to do? Like, how can we possibly get a win? This is the chance. I have a piece up on my Substack, Inside the Lions, that went live Wednesday morning. A really in-depth look at the draft prospects on this Penn State roster. And I chatted with Dane Brugler over at The Athletic, who is one of the best people in the draft sphere and like understanding these guys as pro prospects. And I really think it sheds a lot of insight on kind of where things went wrong for this team, and that the top end talent, like you and I have talked about, the top end talent wasn't there. And, you know, there's still some things to play for. And some of that is for the draft eligible guys to, you know, get 3 games, maybe heading in the right direction for some of them. Like we saw it with Nick Singleton against Indiana, where he started to look like the Singleton of old. But yeah, it's a weird, strange, tough place to play, because it just always feels so dreary and dreadful when Penn State goes to East Lansing.
It's always in November. It feels like always November, late October, like dreary, bad weather.
Well, because John, there's some context to this. There's some history here that you mention it. Because here we go. You open up the door, and I'm ready to march right through it.
Yeah.
So the thought process of the land-grant trophy, the origins of this delightful, weird, I guess we'll say rivalry game, because there is a trophy, not a rivalry, but there is a trophy. So it's kind of a rivalry game, sort of, that never really materialized. So you got that cobbled together piece of junk wood that was once transported in a ratty carpet across state lines to get it back to Lansing from the builders. I did a really deep dive on this trophy a couple years ago at The Athletic, and man, the story behind, at my previous employer, the story behind this trophy is super fascinating, just because it's such a cobbled together mess. But you mentioned it being in November, John, and the thought process was, well, the fans will be a little more excited if it's a trophy game. So how do we lure people in during the start of deer season? So let's make it a trophy game. I kid you not, that was part of the thought process behind it. So, you know, you get this trophy, which Penn State does have. Like it is in,
yes.
Well, I haven't been over in the football building in a little while. It's not since the summer, I guess. up where the trophies are, at least since the summer. And it's on display. I mean, I saw it one year around Christmas time. They had some garland wrapped around it. I mean, it's like, what else do you do? It's like pretty much it could be an end table, you know? But yeah, Penn State has control of it, so they have to lug it out there with them, which when I did this story a couple years ago, I talked to Spider Caldwell, Penn State's longtime equipment manager, and it is an absolute disaster trying to lug this trophy. So oftentimes you'll see it get stuffed in a cart because it's a lot to lift, and the trophy on the top is always falling off, so it's a whole thing and it's taped together. So if Penn State, here's the other silver lining on Saturday, John. We mentioned if they lose, then the bowl game is off the table.
They don't have to take that home.
Yeah, if they lose, you don't have to worry about the trophy. You can just leave it there, and I don't know when they play Michigan State again with this new agreement.
Nor do I, but I hope it's never.
So it could be gone for a while.
It's a waste of a matchup as far as I'm concerned because of the trophy.
You know what? And the weather's always been weird there too, just in terms of lightning delay, snow games, always gray and dreary, like kind of like the Monday or Tuesday rather that we had in State College where the weather was just not great. But yeah, it's a weird place to play. I've actually only ever vaguely walked around their campus. Like it's one of those places that always stay somewhere else, drive in the day before. I guess they have like an on-campus creamery there. A lot of people talk about. It's a thing. I've never been, but maybe,
I genuinely
maybe
did not know that.
Yeah,
but yeah, no. The big thing I think this week with that game is one, hopefully no lightning delay. Nobody wants that. I'm sure the players don't want to be in the locker room playing hangman, eating Chick-fil-A like happened the last time that happened.
You know what I was doing during that delay?
Nothing.
No, I was very busy. I was maximizing my time and grading papers during the lightning delay because I'm like, what else am I gonna do? So yeah, that was a bizarre time. There are a million stories from that. Yeah, from that weird day.
Well, don't worry, we got one of those at West Virginia last year too. But I think as far as this game goes, for Penn State, this is about these guys, the young guys specifically, putting something on film for the next head coach to prove that they can, work in their system, that they can be here next year and contribute. There are some guys that I think we fully anticipate will have the opportunity to stay if they want. There's a lot of them. But I also think that they want to put things on tape for whatever school is next for them, right? Because there will be a mass exodus. I know people don't want to hear that, but it's just how it goes. And if James Franklin gets hired, say, I don't know, 2 states south maybe, and isn't all that far away.
John, Auburn's farther than that.
No, but Virginia Tech isn't. But maybe a place that really likes Metallica. But no, I think this is their chance to put all of that on film. And for as rough as the last 3 weeks have been, those have been really good defenses. And so it's like kind of not been a great opportunity for those guys to show what they can, like, especially young guys, right? Like Ethan Gronkmeyer, Kobe Howard, Chaz Coleman's been awesome because he is. But like a lot of those guys who are maybe not viewed as high-end, like superstar level potential players, like this is a chance for them to put good film out there. And I think that's especially true for Gronkmeyer, who I thought looked the best he has all season in the second half of the game against Indiana, but he has to build off that because I think there are reasons to question if he can be Penn State's quarterback next year. Frankly, I don't anticipate he will be. I don't know that he is, like, I think he could be a quarterback that if he goes in the portal, goes somewhere, sits for a year as a redshirt sophomore, and then starts as a redshirt junior. I think that could make sense unless he moves down a level. Frankly, he could do that at Penn State even if he were to stay. But I think this is a chance for him to show what he can do against a defense that isn't like terrorizing most offenses, right? This Michigan State defense is super gettable. And if he does not play well here, I think it probably tells us a lot of what we need to know about where he'll be next year, what his future is at Penn State.
Well, John, you said that, and I tuned out for like half of your answer because I was just focused on James Franklin coming out to enter Sandman and like what that scene would maybe look like. And that, sorry, my mind started to wander a little bit there. But yeah,
we could find out in about, I don't know, 9 months.
Soon?
10 months.
I think the Grunk point is interesting because Terry Smith said this week that they have a quarterback for the future. And as soon as he said it, I think most of us in the room are like, whose future? Here? Somewhere else?
Well,
where?
It is funny. He said that, and I was like writing something down, and I immediately like looked up and like gave him a look that I react sometimes, and I don't mean to. This happens a lot, especially at the men's basketball press conferences, where I don't like I just react. And that was definitely I'm glad he's not looking at me situation, because I gave him a what kind of look right when he said it.
Yeah, it is one of those comments that I think we can file under the Cooper Cousins comment, the Chaz Coleman, the Kemaju, all of these younger guys that Penn State would like to keep. You're kind of getting those little snippets of information of, hey, Cooper Cousins could be a future captain here. Chaz Coleman, somebody that we're really going to try to build around, who, by the way, Chaz Coleman, they're hoping to have back this week after he was banged up last week, so he's day-to-day.
I was going to say he got banged up in practice last week. That was not a.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said this post game too, but I just want to make sure it's reiterated. That was not a like he's sitting out because he wants to leave or whatever. Like it was a he got banged up during practice last week and couldn't go.
And we'll see the team on the practice field here in about 2 hours on Wednesday, so we'll see if he's out there. But yeah, I think the Grunkemeyer part is interesting because I want to know if that second half against Indiana kind of unlocked some things for him in terms of confidence, in terms of the vertical passing game that we've heard so much about, that they then were calling the plays to push the ball down the field.
We got an answer about
that. Yeah.
By the way, Audrey posited post-game Saturday that maybe that wasn't really a shot at Andy Kotelnicki.
Maybe not. I was trying to be nice. Well, then I asked
Terry Smith. Yeah, then she asked Terry Smith about it on Monday, and then he essentially confirmed that yes, they just didn't call those plays in the first half, which to me is like Andy Kotelnicki wasn't doing what they want him to do in that situation.
Listen, you back the bus over the OC in a public forum, but
real quick, Audrey, do you see this latest comment? The live chat looks like it says "Fly Eagles Fly." That's interesting.
I didn't see that.
It's right there. Yeah, well, don't worry.
Die Eagles.
Right there.
Man, what a
on the screen.
Get that spam. Get that off there. John, I don't know how to get that. Remove that.
Yeah, see, this is the benefit to me being the one that knows how to do the technology here, because Audrey can't stop me from putting things up there.
No, Monday night I was not in a good space.
No, I wasn't either. So
yeah, we did not.
Oh, we don't have to do this now.
We can do this now. We can do this now. I did not talk to John at all during the game. Yeah. And so my dad and my brother were at the game, and I was very jealous because obviously my dad's a Packers fan, my brother's an Eagles fan, and they also were there in 14. And it was like very last minute trip. And obviously with all the airline stuff going on, it was like for a hot second, it was almost like my dad's like, I might have to drive out there. And I was like, well, listen, if you drive. Yeah. And I was like, no, I can't swing this. Like, what am I doing? This would be a terrible idea. Very glad I did not swing it after I saw that Packers offense and just the absolute dumpster fire that they are, which, John, reminded me a lot of the Penn State offense, because as I'm sitting there watching Matt LaFleur instruct Josh Jacobs to run directly right into the line about 24 times.
Well, and as the Eagles defense calls out the plays.
Yeah. As they're inside zone right there. Yeah. Not predictable at all. Yeah. And as I'm watching that disaster class on Monday Night Football, but great defensive matchups. I do enjoy that. Like, I don't need a high scoring game to be entertained, but also like would have been nice to at least see a competent offense, from my side of things. But as I'm watching that, I'm thinking, wow, this reminds me a little bit of Penn State in terms of you're not seeing Jalen Hurts push the ball down the field. You're not seeing Jordan Love push the ball down the field. And instead it's like, can you just take a chance? But then Nick Sirianni, like, can you not do that there with the kill shot? Like, that's a whole other. I will say about that.
A couple things. One, if you have questions, I see them in the chat. Keep them coming. We'll get to them. We're going to get to the coaching search here soon. We appreciate all of that. Two, I did find the scenario where I would punt. And it was that was scenario, the one. And I couldn't believe that it happened on Monday Night Football. But I digress. We don't need to.
But what a stupid decision! Like, I'm sitting there, and I was like,
he does this all the time. It's fine.
And I know, and like I understand the Eagles fans' frustrations with Nick Sirianni, and it's like, well, yeah, we weren't going to kick a field goal. It's like, well, yeah, no shit, punt.
Yeah, like, kick the field goal is not the play there. And I don't know. And I think Penn State might have actually been in this scenario. You're better off being down 3 in that situation than you are down 6, because being down 6 incentivizes the team to go for a touchdown. You can lose in regulation, all that
John,
stuff.
Forget about the analytics. Use your 2 eyes. Look at this offense. Was there anything Monday night that you're like, yes, this Packers offense, you can pin them deep. They're going to go 90 on you. Absolutely not. With like 26 seconds. Like, so again, as much as we love to complain about play calling and not pushing the ball down the field about the
be
team
worse.
we get paid to cover. Then you go and you watch it in the NFL and you're like, what are these guys doing? I mean, it's...
To be fair, Jeff Halfley and Vic Fangio are very, very
Uncle
good at
Vic?
their jobs. Yeah, fantastic.
Yes.
It is in the chat here. Someone saw this, and I've heard this too. That it's rumored that it was on Hurts and AJ. I actually kind of think that Sirianni sent them out there to try and draw them off sides again, because there's nothing he loves more than drawing people off sides.
Well,
But
a little
the good news
kiss
is,
and makeup there of, hey, AJ,
Yes.
let's get you involved now. Yeah.
to tie this back to Penn State, there is a head coach that was fired in the NFL recently that I've seen people connect to, and we will discuss that after a quick break to listen to some stuff from our sponsors. Not my best work.
John, should I tell us about our friends at Roback? Are you
Whatever.
ready to
No,
Roback
I got
today?
it. I got
No.
it.
I want to tell
Okay,
about our friends
fine.
at Roback first.
Actually, no, I did have the Roback hat at first, but the lighting was weird, so I switched to the Jordan Brand one. But yes, that's a
do you have
Roback
your
hat
Roback
that
pants on today?
I do not. These are regular. These are I think
You want
Nike.
to stand up and show the crowd?
I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
Well, John, but our friends over at Roback, first-time customers can get 20% off their purchase using code TND20. That's TND20 as in the Nittany Dispatch 20. Again, you can check out their Penn State line, their golf apparel, their regular athleisure apparel, which John usually wears, and I often wear as well. Joggers, which John can attest, are very comfortable, and he usually wears them during the podcast.
Several
Hats.
types of joggers too. There are joggers that I wear that are nicer, that I wear legitimately to work, like is the nicest thing I wear. And then they have very comfortable joggers that I always wear when I fly, because they're the comfiest pants that I own.
Specific flying joggers. That's a very
I wear them to practice
interesting
too
take.
sometimes.
Well, our friends, if you want to dress like John, our friends over at Roback have you covered. And again, you can use code TND20 for new customers to save 20% off their first purchase.
The rivalries, the marching bands, the upsets. Saturdays just got way more fun. College football is back. Think you know the game? Put your knowledge to the test with DraftKings Sportsbook and turn your picks into big payouts. With live betting, rivalry week odds boosts, and more, DraftKings Sportsbook has everything you need to own every Saturday. And here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DISPATCH. That's code DISPATCH for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. All
Well,
right.
John, we rounded it into form. We got a little better as we went on.
Yeah. That was easily the worst transition to the ads that I've done, which is
but
fine.
I was able to check on my flight again. I still have a flight for Friday.
Let's get to our game predictions real quick, and then we'll get into the coaching search just to wrap up this game, because it's so important to everyone.
Do I have a game prediction?
I do, and I can go first then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, write yours down because I don't need you to steal mine. I have Penn State winning 27-13. I think they're 7.5 point favorites. Don't give me that look. Did you just steal my score? I have. The spread 7.5. The over under I think is 49.5. I think this will probably be under. I think Penn State will end up winning this game and covering. They're just better. Like this, if this is the Penn State, if the team that played Indiana is the one that shows up in East Lansing, this game could be ugly. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's a blowout. That being said, Penn State has not given us a lot of reason to think they can blow anyone out at this point, even the teams that were playing at the beginning of the year. But yeah, I've got Penn State 27-13 with my player to watch, and that we're talking about post game is Nick Singleton staying hot and breaking off some big runs. As always, I went with very specific outcomes. Of course you did. Yeah, 104 rushing yards, 37 receiving yards, and 1 receiving and 1 rushing touchdown
for Singleton.
Yes.
Okay. They're just going to do their part to try and get to this postseason game, aren't they, John? I am with you in that if the team that shows up against Indiana shows up against Michigan State, it could get ugly. I don't know how many times Penn State can keep going to the well and keep saying, okay, we're playing. We're into this. We're locked in. give Terry Smith a heck of a lot of credit because so far they've done that every week that he's been in charge, and there is no way that's easy. I do wonder if there's a point where it's like they just don't get up off the mat. That like this is it. And I know Terry Smith said Terry Smith coach team will never quit and all of this, and they haven't yet. So I haven't seen anything to suggest that they're going to like lay down and die, but I do wonder it's got to be getting harder to do that, especially after losing the way they just did to Indiana. I'm going to pick Penn State 27, Michigan State 10. I was scribbling down my 2-7 as you said your score prediction, John, and
Nice.
that's when I kind of gave you that look. Player that we are talking about hopefully Saturday night, because if it's Sunday, that means there's some kind of weather delay. Player that we're hopefully talking about Saturday night, I'm going to ride this 2 weeks in a row and stick with Kobe Howard. We've seen some flashes from the freshman receiver, and I think at this point, it's so weird covering this team right now because it's like the bigger context is how do these guys look next season, and is that next season even here?
Yeah.
Howard's one of those guys that I would love to know what he's thinking right now. Does he want to be here? Does he not next year? I don't know. But I do think it was interesting. We got an answer from Ethan Grunkemeyer on Tuesday. I think it was, Tuesday. He talked and was kind of asked basically like, okay, Terry Smith said you're quarterback of the future. Like, do you have any thoughts about that? And he basically was like, I got to wait and see who the coach is. And depending, who that is, I love Penn State. Obviously, he wants that future to be here, but these guys are all really realistic about where this thing's at. So, yeah, I got Penn State 27, Michigan State 10. And now for the other half of the show, the other thing that we're covering.
Yes,
the
coaching search. Again, if you have questions, please leave them in the chat. We'll try and get to as many as we can here. The first one, I'm trying to scroll back here. This one, Brian Dable, next coach. Nope. Don't anticipate that being the case. Dable has not been successful as an NFL head coach. Had one successful year when Josh Allen was his quarterback, or a couple of successful years when Allen was his quarterback. I would not anticipate that being the case. His kids went to Penn State, like their connection is there, but I don't like. I don't even think that's anywhere near the radar. Do you have anything to add, Audrey, or can I just simply move to the next one?
The only thing I have to add is that it's not great for me because now the Packers play a team with an interim head coach. Love that on Sunday. Yeah.
Who knows? The interim head coach boost. Yeah.
Yeah. Interim head coach with Jameis Winston possibly starting at quarterback. Yeah. Real fun times coming.
Penn State not getting that benefit this weekend, although Michigan State's next opponent might.
I was going to say for a while, I thought that they would.
Yeah. If they don't name a coach the first week of December, is it all in for Elko? I would say no, because it is not just Elko. I think the top tier of candidates, and I know people don't like this, and they don't want to hear this, and they're saying it's a pipe dream and
it's
all that
unrealistic and blah, 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 blah. And we're happy 1 month coach anniversary.
Yeah, the top tier of candidates is Mike Elko, Kalen DeBoer, and Marcus Freeman. It could be any of those guys, right? Like it's not necessarily just one that they're chasing. All three have a chance to make the playoff that they could be waiting for. There could be other coaches that pop up in that tier or whoever they decide on that makes it to the playoffs. So I would say no. But I do think the later it goes, obviously the more likely it is that they are targeting a playoff coach. To me, there are three key windows to look at for a hire. Right after Rutgers being one, because that is the first chance. Right after the college football playoff selection show on December 6th or whatever it is. 7th. That Sunday, whatever day that is.
Wrong month, yeah.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
7th.
And so that right after that, when we know who's in the playoff and who's not, and then kind of after the first round or after every subsequent round, I guess, of the playoff. And then I think we'll get clarity. But yeah, I think the longer it goes, the more likely it is that it is one of those high-end tier coaches.
I want to pivot back to your point or the question on all in on Elko. One, I like the slogan. That could be a very fun all in on Elko kind of that could be a little catchy.
Not a slogan guy.
I like the idea of Elko a lot. I think again, you're talking massive swings. You're talking massive regional ties. South Brunswick, New Jersey guy. I would love to know what's in his head right now in terms of have you had enough at Texas A&M in terms of all the other things that you have to deal with there, right? And it's great to have money and it's great to have resources and it's great to have boosters, but I'm sure there's also this human element of like, I just want to be a ball coach. I maybe don't want to do all these other things. And again, every school has their pros and cons. I am not going to sit here and tell you that if Mike Elko by some chance ends up at Penn State, that this place is going to be perfect and normal and everything's going to be working in harmony, because it's just not how it works. But I do wonder, like, if there's some level of that. Again, I think the window piece is interesting. Go ahead, and then we'll come back. Yeah.
I want to say real quick, I don't wonder if there's some of that. I feel pretty confident that there's some of that, and he's not the only one dealing with that. And that is why the window is open for Penn State. I'm not saying it's like wide open, but I think it's at least cracked for Penn State because of those parts of the job at places like Texas A&M and Alabama. Like, your coaches are not from the South. They're not perfect fits, and I think there's a chance that they would like to go somewhere that's a better fit. I will say, and I'm not the first.
That this is the most sane fan base ever, because every fan base, and that's what makes them great. Like, every fan base has their things.
Yeah, but
again,
special.
I think there's
a special place.
Yeah, like there's those elements to it that every job you're like, okay, do I want to deal with this? But so my other thought on this, and I got into this a little bit last week on my Substack with the idea of a general manager and how important of a hire that is. And you asked Terry Smith this week if he'd be interested in staying here as a GM. And Terry said, like, yeah, he would basically consider any job to stay here. John?
I do think, by the way, that Terry pretty clearly wants to be at Penn State next year.
You think? The guy said every single time he wants to be here.
I know. It feels worth reaffirming.
No, he definitely gives off the vibes of someone who for sure wants to be here. But if you're looking at that later window, right? If you're not getting a hire done by first week of December, do we then see a scenario where maybe a GM hire is made before the head coach? Could that happen? Would that be... Would that give you a better chance potentially to try and retain some of these guys?
I don't know. I think the scenario where that happens is where I always need to be careful. I say too much. I talk too much in general. Everyone knows that.
John, you can mute yourself. There's a mute button here if you'd like to mute.
I know. I think that if there is a GM hire, we will want to look at who that GM is and who they have the connections to, because I think it could indicate that something else is done with the head coach and they're just kind of getting in before the head coach can. I think that would be the scenario where that happens. I don't anticipate it happening, but that would be how that would have to go down to me.
I think Terry Smith, you're saying.
I don't think it'll be Terry Smith as a GM. And even when I asked about GM, I just meant in general, like, is he open to, like, GM is the easiest one to kind of make him, like, say the example, but I just meant in general, like, what would he want? Keep going with the questions here. Am I wrong to not want a big name hired? Much rather see an up and coming coach who gets Penn State and wants to build a standard. I don't think it's about the name recognition as much as it is like knowing that Elko and DeBoer and Freeman are elite head coaches, and there's a floor that you're going to get to with those guys, and a ceiling that we are seeing now is attainable with all of them. And Kalen DeBoer coached the national title game, right? Like at Washington. I feel confident he can get back with any program that he's at as long as they're funding him enough, essentially. But I don't know that it's wrong to want that. I do think it's wrong to want Brian Hartline. I think that is but I think when people are saying, and I'm not saying that the commenter is saying that, but I think when people are saying, like, I'd rather take a swing at Brian Hartline, there is, like, I don't think Brian Hartline, a little
aggressive.
Yeah, I know. I don't think there is the necessarily even the upside that people see with Hartline, right? Like, it's not even a complete unknown. It just, there's a chance that he's not a good head coach. Like, it's not unrealistic, and everyone gives him credit.
He's not a great play caller right now, and we don't know. I mean,
everyone gives him credit for Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. You know who deserves a lot of credit for Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate? Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. Like, they're awesome, and he's been consistently fed this high-end talent, and, like, of course, like, he's part of getting them in the door, but eventually it becomes self-fulfilling, right? Like, you get the initial guys and everyone else. Like, it's like running back at Penn State was for a while, right? Like, I'm not saying Jay Snyder wasn't a great running backs coach at Penn State, but, like, eventually you just keep getting great ones in the door because they saw Saquon, because they saw Nick Singleton.
What happened this year? Then never mind.
I mean, Katron Allen's been great.
Yeah, he's been great. Right? I mean, that's the. Like, I do think. I thought John, we as a as a society, we're moving a little bit away from the Heartline talk. I thought
It won't end. I
we
don't
were
know
going
why
in the
it
right
keeps
direction,
happening.
and then you brought it up, and now you are the one who's going to stick this in people's heads. I want to throw a name out there to you, John.
Okay.
Mr. Drinkwitz at Missouri. We've talked a little bit about him here before.
Can I pull up the
Obviously,
question
Florida.
that ties this in?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Hit the button.
Yeah. So what's the likelihood of the next head coach coming from this pool? Elko, DeBoer, Brom, Key, Drinkwitz, all are home run hires. I think we're
swimming in the right pool there, though. I think we're swimming.
I would take Brom out. He's probably going to sign an extension at Louisville soon, and I also do not believe Penn State is all that interested in Jeff Brom. Wait,
can you put the names back up there?
Yes. Fun fact: these 4 of these 5 were in my the coaching board that I published on Monday that you can go read at Center Daily Times. I won't reveal who the 5th one is. You can go read it on the website at centerdaily.com. But this is, I think, generally the right pool you want to look at, minus Brom. But to your Drinkwitz point, I think I would be, and someone else actually brought this up, that Drinkwitz is 1-9 against top 10 teams and 7-14 against top 25 teams. He's also been doing that at places like Missouri and App State. Yeah. And like it's not, I don't know. It's not like he's racing with a Ferrari out here. Like
if we have to keep bringing up a head coach's record versus top 10 teams for the next head coach, I'm just gonna be like, dude,
it's just hard to beat those teams when you don't have the resources. That's not the same as having that kind of record as Penn State's head coach. I'll say that. That being said, I don't think Drinkwitz is this easy hire to make. I don't think he's guaranteed to have success. I think the fit at Penn State, like I talk about Elko and DeBoer, like you're looking at the inverse of that at Penn State. I don't know how it would work, and I would have concerns from that standpoint. But yeah, I think right now, if I were to redo my coaching board, I don't know that I would change anything, which means, 4 of those 5 outside of Brom would be in that top group, along with one more. And now that we're over half an hour, and I'll just say it, it's Marcus Freeman. I've mentioned him already. Like
you said that earlier, yeah.
Yeah, but on my board, he is second, and I think that's notable. And I would have those same 5. I don't know if I'd have them in the same order, but yeah, I think you're looking at the kind of the right group. I just don't know that I agree if it's a home run hire, which brings us to the next question. Who's a clear upgrade over Franklin if you don't get an Elko or a DeBoer? Freeman, I would include.
It sounds like we're talking about Pokemon cards at that point. If you don't get an Elko or a DeBoer, who's an upgrade? Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good question, and I think that will be something we're all looking at. I think there is a world where you're just kind of hoping that the next head coach can be like James Franklin, but manage the roster differently, manage the funding differently, manage the job differently. And then you're hoping that that's enough to improve. Like, I don't know. I think like if James did what he usually does, Penn State's in the playoff more often than not. And I think that's what you want out of the next head coach. It just kind of all went sideways this year with some lack of, to use a James Franklin term, some lack of alignment when it comes to roster construction. And I think that impacted sort of why this went down.
I will say, and I know we're all going to do this, and it's part of the job. It's part of a fan being a fan. I get it. But like as soon as that hire is made, whoever it is, we're going to have a million hot takes on the internet of, is it a great hire? Is it an upgrade over James Franklin? Is it this? Is it that? Honestly, I don't think we're going to know for 2 years. Like that's the measured take on this of
no, but we don't need to do the Trey Wingo. Like you have to judge it. Like we need to, like, it's like a trade that you judge its time based on the information you have available.
For sure. And like, I get it. That's part of it. Fans are going to want to know, fans are going to have their own thoughts on it. But I think what you're looking at is the next head coach has to be able to get this program back to the college football playoff within those first 2 years. And if it doesn't happen within 2, then I think we're kind of back at this scenario again. Now, John, I want to pose another question to you.
Yes.
Now that we're 1 month into the James Franklin fire anniversary, is that what I'm calling it? Coach anniversary?
Replacement anniversary?
Replace anniversary, whatever we want to call it. Knowing what we know now, where things are with candidates, where maybe this projects, maybe we're still talking about this in a month from now. They're still waiting to potentially make a hire.
Oh God.
Knowing what we know now, John, if I gave you the keys to the car and I said, hey, you're athletic director for a day, knowing what we know now, would you go back and fire James Franklin a month ago? Would you do it?
Yes.
Why?
because I think that Elko or DeBoer are Elko and DeBoer are clear upgrades.
Elpo.
Are clear upgrades over James Franklin. And I think it is worth, even if it's a 15% shot at each, I think it's worth taking that swing. I think because of the way the roster is handled now and because of the structure of the football program, I think that they will kind of be able to insulate the next head coach, even if they're like James Franklin 2.0. I think those kind of candidates will be able to just kind of get them back to where James had them anyways, and pretty quickly. I just think there's a chance they can swing higher, and there's a decent chance that they can at least get someone I would say more likely than not that they can get someone that's at least at James's level as a head coach, a top 15 to actually top 15 coach in the country. And I think they should be able to get someone like that.
And if
would you do it?
If you don't swing and you don't get those, knowing what we know now, yeah, I still would do it. I would do the same thing. And I think for me, it felt really stale and it felt like it ran its course. And once he started losing games that he typically would win, the UCLAs, the Northwesterns, then you're like, oh my gosh, like this thing can't be salvaged. And I understand and they're still in, and I felt like, and I know like social media is never indicative of, sounds like an echo chamber most days, and people they don't behave the same way online as they do in person, all these kinds of things.
Tell me about it.
But it's much more, we heard from more people, or people were more forward after James was fired, it seemed. I could be wrong. And they were like, well, they should have kept him. And I would have kept him. And like those people, and maybe it's just because they weren't as loud, right, as the people throughout the process. But now that we're 1 month into it, I think it was time. I think it ran its course. And also I think in fairness to James, get a fresh start, look around, see what's out there. I mean, again, he's had a month to survey the field. I mean, like that. And again, the domino of where he goes is still going to be a really compelling piece to this whole thing too. But yeah, now that we're a month into it, maybe with another month to go, it still feels like it was the right decision knowing what we know now.
Keep going with the questions here. Two that are kind of tied together. Which coaching candidate can recruit the Northeast and DMV? And then do you see Penn State recruiting on more of a national level with the new head coach? I want to tie them together because I think the regional recruiting is going to matter less with the next head coach. I think it is more about, like, as NIL and the portal become more of a thing, it is more national. It is less regionalized. Yes, there will inevitably be, Northeast, DMV types of players that gravitate toward Penn State, but I think it's going to be more about the other aspects of it than that. Looking for more questions here, unless you have something to add there, Audrey.
We saw this, and this is the thing where, and I think, especially at the end, I think it's different. There was the perception that James Franklin was very cutting edge, and because when he got here, he was dragging this program with him forward, and it was, hey, we're going to recruit nationally by position, right? We're going to be, I mean, again, you look at it, well, not anymore, but their quarterback commit for this class for a long time was Troy Hune from Mission Hills, California. Right? That's what they were doing. And that's what this next coaching staff will continue to do. In this day and age, that's what you have to do, which also kind of sounds a little bit funny when you play back the Franklin intro presser, where it was like, we're going to dominate the state and all that. Yeah. It's like, that doesn't matter. Like, it matters to some extent, and when you have those big time regional players, you want to land them. But hey, case in point, Nolan Rucci goes to Wisconsin, tells no thanks. You get him back here the second time around. Again, not the best season that you'd hope for from him individually. But I think, again, when you have a 5-star prospect within 2 hours, especially with a heck of a lot of family ties to your school, you're going to try to make those inroads. And John, I'm gonna poke the bear on this one a little bit. You know who's really great at recruiting the region?
I'm not going to respond to you if you say who I think you're going to say.
Fran Brown.
That's great. He can he won't be doing it at Penn State. I promise you that. Anyways, next question that I see here. This one's pretty straightforward. I can handle it. Will they meet any finalists in person? If they do they come to State College, or does Kraft go to them? They probably will meet them in person. When Micah Shrewsbury met with Notre Dame, it was in Pittsburgh. I don't know if that's out there. Whatever. It is now. It was that was in Pittsburgh, and it wasn't, when he was leaving, they try and obfuscate and not make it obvious. So I don't know where they would meet, but yeah, presumably they'll do that. Two questions here I want to tie together.
No. I love the inner workings of coaching searches. This is my music. I love the Land Grant Trophy. I love stupid trophy games.
I just don't want us to
searches.
I don't want us to incentivize flight tracking because it's usually
no. I'm not a flight tracker. I'm not. Despite living insanely close to an airport, I'm not a flight tracker. Although there was a great time when James was getting hired and there was a flight and everybody was convinced the head coach was on it and everybody showed up at the airport. And then it was like these boosters got out and they're like, why is everyone here looking at our flight? But oftentimes they try to meet at a location that is like centrally located for both parties because you don't want to be, again, this is all about secrecy, and teams will go through some crazy length, or schools, programs, to keep their head coach and to keep their identity a secret. So to the point where when Penn State hired Cale Sanderson, he's at the time he was at Iowa State, they went to Des Moines, Iowa to meet him at like a Holiday Inn. And Cale came in the back door with a trench coat and a hat pulled low, and Penn State comes in, to the point where when these people are, using these conference rooms or checking into a hotel, they will have like one person go up and sign in for the entire party. So it's not like, oh, athletic director Pat Kraft, athletic director Dave Joyner at the time. Like they do that. Also, when James Franklin was hired here, I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, Penn State met him at his vacation home in Florida in Destin. They went there as opposed to him coming here. When David Taylor, for wrestling, because that's starting up, people are getting fired up about wrestling this week. When David Taylor left to go to Oklahoma State, they flew here and met him in his kitchen and talked to him in his home. Again, I love coaching searches. Just love everything about them.
Anyways, two more questions that are tied together that I think are important because I see them a lot. Why would Freeman ever leave Notre Dame? And
why?
And why would Elko? I think it's pretty simple. One, I actually don't think Marcus Freeman's going to be Penn State's next head coach, and I don't think he's going to leave Notre Dame unless it's for an NFL job. That being said, Penn State's going to keep trying, and that's why he keeps getting talked about. People like to do this thing in coaching searches where they ascribe the things they care about to the head coach and the things that they think the head coach should care about to the head coach, and think, oh, he has everything he wants at Texas A&M. Why would he leave? You don't know what he wants, right? It's like, we don't know. I mean, I have an idea of what Mike Elko wants.
What makes you happy? What makes you feel fulfilled? Maybe he just wants to come on the dispatch and clear the air if there is any air to clear. We welcome Mike Elko to come on. Yeah,
absolutely. We'll see if that happens if he ends up being the hire. But no, I think it is pretty clear that if Mike Elko desperately wanted to be at Texas A&M, he probably would have signed a contract extension, right? He's making like $7 million a year. Like, that's pretty clear to me. I'm not the first person to bring that up, by the way. I know other reporters have to. I'm stating the obvious little on that front. But yeah, I think the mistake that we all make is ascribing what we think they want to them, like, and saying that they must want the money to win a national title, or maybe they just want to feel respected, or maybe they want to feel wanted by the school they're at, or maybe they want to be close to home. Like, we don't know. Like, that is why coaches leave schools. Like, I think a lot of people would have said, why would Brian Kelly take LSU? Why would Lincoln Riley take USC? Like, these things happen. It is not every head coach wants the same things out of everything. They all want very different things. They all want what they want. And if they can't get it from their current school, they have the mobility and the ability to go find it somewhere else. And if Penn State is offering those kinds of things, that's why they would want it. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think this is where people get a little mixed up in these coaching searches. When I put Marcus Freeman at number 2 on the coaching board, I'm not saying he's the second most likely candidate to be the head coach. That is essentially what Penn State is doing, right? Like, I'm not saying what I would do or what I think they're going to do. It is what I'm hearing, right? And what I'm hearing is continually that Penn State is going to chase these top 3 candidates until they can't anymore. Like, that's it. And I know people are like, well, why would they do that? I'm not making those decisions. They're making those decisions.
Why, John? Why?
Right. And I try to explain best I can why I think they're doing it and what I'm hearing about why they're doing it. But I just think that they see enough of an opening to continue chasing. And until they don't, they're not going to. But yeah, I don't think Marcus Freeman is going to leave for Notre Dame unless it's an NFL job or Ohio State. I think it's more likely that Elko would leave or that DeBoer would leave, but I'm not ruling anything out. We are not in those coaches' heads, so it's kind of hard to say why they would do it. It's their reasoning, whatever they believe. Like
John,
coaches can have good things going and want more or want different. It's how life works.
And this is where, and again, these are human beings that we're talking about. They're not robots, even though sometimes they behave in very robotic ways, or they create fake Southern accents that just appear out of nowhere, like Brian Kelly sometimes. But
that is still like all the videos after he got fired of him, like
the family.
Like if he got hired at UCLA, like the accent that he would have, like the surfer accent, like, it was all very good. Like the internet was a good place for that very brief amount of time.
These are human beings who, again, there's reasons why people in our line of work, in any line of work, want a different job, don't want a different job, like what they're doing, hate what they're doing. It's not all that different, even though these jobs are much more lucrative and they are much more high profile, and there are only a certain number of them in the country. It's still, there are some of the pieces, some of the elements to a job that are not that different than us, than the people listening to us. Like it is kind of bizarre when you realize that at the end of the day, these people are humans, because sometimes, again, they might feel very robotic. But all I care about in this coaching search, John, is we're 1 month into it. The only thing I care about, what does it mean for me? How does it impact my life, right? How are they going to be like with media access? How are they going to be with
hopefully good? It's better for the fans.
Do they want to keep the Monday press conference? Do they want to keep the media at practice? Those things. Are we getting a public practice? Or are we not getting all of you start to think about, and I'm only half joking about this, because every coaching staff has their thing that they like, and they do it this way because they've done it this way before. And the idea spread. And I will say, for fans, and you're just starting to hit on this, you should want to feel connected to your program.
Yes.
You should want reporters to have more access to your players and coaches, because that brings you closer to them. If you feel like you understand the person underneath the helmet, that's good. Like, I think that is, and I know not everyone cares about that and they just want to win. And I get that. Like, I totally, as I'm watching the Packers going through the same process as most of the Penn State fans are with their team, and you want them to win, and you care so much about the team that sometimes you might hate them a lot because they make you mad, right? But you should want to feel like you know them. And again, that's just something to keep in mind, because some of these coaches are more closed off. And sometimes I can tell you, with James Franklin, it took more than a decade to get to where we were at the end, where it's like, hey, we want to talk to players in person, and here's why. It helps them. It also helps us. It helps your fans. Like, all those kinds of things that are not the most important thing. I get it, and they shouldn't be, but keep it in mind.
No, but it's also about like being able to build trust in a relationship with those people. And that's how, like, that story I told about James this summer doesn't happen if I haven't built some level of trust with him. You know what I mean? Over that extended period of time, you get to know people and they're willing to talk more and be open. But yeah, I think all that's true. But I just think it's the one thing that, like, I've been stuck on a lot lately is like people coming at reporters like, well, why are you reporting this? This isn't going to happen. None of us are saying anything's going to happen. We're saying what we hear is happening. Like,
I've been awfully quiet on this social media, so I am just really kind of living in my own bubble these days, and it's a pretty nice spot, honestly.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to manage a message board right now. I'll say that. I think it is.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a time on those. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no, I just think, like, trying to figure out, and like, I know Notre Dame fans get upset when you put Marcus Freeman's name on the list. Like, I'm not saying that he should or that he's going to. I'm just reporting what I'm hearing. Anyways, I think that tirade is probably a good place to leave it. I do not see any more questions other than, did James Franklin ever get an ice cream flavor at the creamery? I don't think so. I don't know that did Bill O'Brien? Like, I don't think that's a thing that happens.
Thank you. Maybe there's some kind of 10-2 flavor they're going to roll out.
Something that is great but not elite.
What would that? Yeah, what would James Franklin's creamery flavor? Because again, we know the guy had a turkey burger at the Fields, and he caught a lot of flack for that.
Yeah, I will leave that as homework for you for next time. Someone said vanilla, and I think that's very funny because that's what all of his offenses were. But other than the Moorhead ones and Koto Nicky last year. Anyways, I think that is a good place to leave it. We will be back post game after the Michigan State game. And I think Tuesday of next week. Honestly, I got to look at the men's basketball schedule so I know when we're going to be.
John, you just not go to men's basketball. Like nobody needs to go to men's basketball games around here. I just pull the schedule. Let me know. Let me know what works for you.
I have a job to do, ma'am. Anyways,
listen, I don't think if you stop showing up, I think everyone will be okay.
It's not always about what's going on the court. Is why I go.
No one cares on or off the court with that program, John. But I just let me know. And they play next Wednesday. We can record Tuesday. Maybe
it's not about that program. Anyways, that'll be it for this episode.
You're into women's basketball too.
And yeah, the women's team is actually pretty fun.
I was going to say they're compelling.
Yeah. But no, I think that's a good place to leave it. Don't forget to leave us those 5-star ratings and reviews if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button down below. That really helps us out. If you would like to read Audrey's work, you can find it at insidethelines.substack.com. You can find her on Twitter at AudSnyder4, and you can find her on Blue Sky at audreysnyder.bsky.social. Did I get that order right or did I get it wrong again? I can never remember.
I was too focused on Harvard at Penn State basketball next Wednesday night at 6:30. I was locked in.
Right. I do think they play the following Tuesday, by the way. If you'd like to read my work, you can read it at centerdaily.com, CENTRE daily.com. You can get a subscription there to read everything I write, including every Monday. I will have a coaching board with updated info before we go live on Tuesdays or Wednesdays to discuss what is there. So if you want a little sneak peek of what we're going to discuss, it's always there.
We'll be live Tuesdays at 7 from here on out.
Yeah, until there's another men's basketball game on a Tuesday. If you'd like to read all of my work, like I said, you find it at centerdaily.com. You can find me on Twitter at John Sauber, JONSAUBER, and on Blue Sky at johnsauber.bsky.social. I think that is everything. I got all of the plugs and everything. I appreciate everyone with their questions. Don't forget to leave those. Like if you have questions, every episode we try and get to them if we can. So feel free to pop in the chat, leave your questions. We'll answer as much as we can. And honestly, if you have questions, if you're listening after the fact, leave them in the comments of the show. Maybe we'll try and get to them in the next show or pop into the next live show and we'll try and get to those. Until Saturday around, what do you say, Audrey? 9:30, 10, somewhere around?
Are they the same time zone as us? I can never get that one right. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. 9:30, 10, somewhere around there. We will be live once again on YouTube. Until then, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.